Welcome, everyone. We are here live with the Martial Arts Experience. I feel like it's been forever, guys. I know I've been away for months. You guys know I was promoting my movie Killer X. And, obviously I know the fans have been asking. I've been getting emails from people. When's the next show? When are you coming back? And I'm excited to come back with episode 15 today. And we have an amazing, amazing guest today. I got to tell you, absolute legend. Good-looking guy. He's laughing behind the scenes now because I can see his face. So I'm just going to bring him on. He's the man. So we're going to bring him on. And that is Mr. Haskell Anderson III. How are you, sir?
Better than yesterday, not as good as tomorrow. As a friend of mine used to say, I'm getting more than what I deserve.
I got to thank you so much. So for all my viewers, obviously, guys, the last couple episodes, we've been bringing martial artists and actors and all these wonderful people. And recently, a couple episodes ago, we had Muhammad Kisi on, which was great. He was tied to the Kickboxer franchise. So what better? I got to get the man himself, Haskell Anderson, who played Winston on Kickboxer. So, I want to thank you for coming out today.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here. I'm really honored. It's a real pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Haskell, how did you get involved in the entertainment business and acting? How did you get involved?
Well, it's such a long story, and I'm going to make it short. I guess it basically started in grammar school. I did one show, people laughed, and I didn't know what that was about, but it was fun and didn't bother with it until later when I was in college. Having fun, became a professional model right after I should say right after high school. And then in college, I got involved with being a professional model in New York.
Wow.
And after college and serving in the Navy, I got out and I was working a sales position. In fact, it wasn't after college; it was after graduate school, with the intention of trying to get into medical school.
Wow.
And I was working at a children's hospital in Philadelphia. And
is that originally where you're from? Where are you originally?
No, I'm from the Bronx, where the Yankees are.
New York. Okay.
I grew up a little bit in Queens, but after while I was working this job in this children's hospital, one of the sales rep recommended me for one of the positions in sales and selling cardiac pacemakers. I thought it would be interesting. And I was hired and took the job, and I ended up in Cleveland, Ohio, a city that I had never been to, but took a bus through on my way from home to school in near Chicago. And that was my base. And while I was there, I met some very, very interesting, fun people who introduced me to some artists who were working at a place called the Caramoo House of Performing Arts. And the next day when I met these same people, or this young lady, I said, so just joking, when am I going to get discovered? And she said, and she kind of laughed, I laughed. And then she said, they're doing a show, or they're getting ready to do a show at the Playhouse, and you should go meet the director. And a lark, I said, oh, okay, I'll go do that. And I went, and they were kind of like off put because I walked in without an appointment. I said, yeah, I'm here to meet some director for some show. And they said, okay. The director invited me in, and I auditioned, and the first thing out of his mouth is, where have you been? And it was a show called No Place to Be Somebody by Charles Cardone, which was a Pulitzer Prize winner that starred originally with Ron O'Neal at the Public Theater in New York. And this was the Cleveland premiere of the show. And the show went on for several weeks, and it was just fantastic. Unfortunately, the lead actor who I was playing opposite was killed in a drive-by shooting. And we had to shut down for about 2-3 weeks, I think. And they hired an actor that came in from New York who was in the original production of No Place to Be Somebody. The name is Terry Alexander. And I'm not going to tell you how far back that was, but we became very, very, very close, and still very, very close friends. In fact, he was my best man at my wedding.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we are still friends today.
Unbelievable.
And that was my first show. He was there because him being the name because he was doing a soap opera at the time, and all the people came to see the show, and we were leaving the theater, and there was this big crowd, and they actually had to pull us back into the, and it was just a shocker for me because I've never experienced that.
Right.
Then I went to the Cleveland Playhouse again on a lock,
Wow.
which is a very prestigious theater in Cleveland. And after that run, I went to New York, back home, New York,
Okay.
and said, okay, this is going to be interesting. Let me see if I can do some stuff in New York, which was not that difficult. I was very, very fortunate. Got some off Broadway plays,
Okay.
and worked with some people from Raisin in the Sun, which was a musical.
Yes. Very familiar.
And that's where I learned how to be a stage manager, which got me another job, which is interesting.
Wow.
And I met a director from while doing that show, who was directing a play in New York, and it was going to go to Washington, D.C., and he needed a stage manager. I said, well, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And we went up there, and one of the cast members who was seen in that particular play was asked to come in and audition for a movie. And he and I happened to be roommates, and he asked me if I wanted to come with me. And I really wasn't interested. I just wanted to get back to New York.
Right.
So I went with him anyway. And the director asked me to come in and read, and I said, okay, and I read for him. And he said, well, is that all you want to do? I said, well, you saw what I can do. And 5 days later, he called and said, you have the job. And I said, oh, and that film was called Brotherhood of Death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it would be one of the last of the black exploitation films.
Ah, okay.
Brotherhood of Death. Remember that.
Okay.
And for years, I used to hide from that film, I wouldn't tell anybody.
It's so funny.
But it's like one of those cult favorite films, and interesting enough, I was at an audition, and a guy that was auditioning, not with me, but we were at the same audition. And he said, I saw your first film. And I said, oh, what, Kickboxer? He said, oh, no. Brotherhood of Death. I said, oh, God. Where did you see that? He says, well, Quentin Tarantino has his festival, and he shows it whenever he has his festival. I said, really?
Wow.
I said, oh.
Unbelievable.
Because of him, they released the film again on Blu-ray.
Wow.
And then they got I guess a video deal, because the people that owned the video company interviewed me and put me on the new release, and then, which is on the shelf somewhere gathering dust. But I was more interested really in doing theater, and I was doing quite a bit of that. So
now, Haskell, what pushed you more? Did you feel in your heart that you wanted to be more of a theatrical actor? Is that that's what you felt your heart was in, more than film?
Yeah, I had much more experience with theater.
Okay.
When I did Brotherhood of Death, I had no idea what I was doing or how it was done. It was just totally. But I was going and watching movies all the time. I mean, that was my thing. So I was doing theater, and as a matter of fact, I was doing a show called Traces, which was about Vietnam. We were doing that show. We did it in Australia. The show was done in London and other places, and ended up at the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago. And then it went to the Public Theater, run by Joe Papp at that time. And Olympia Dukakis, who was doing a show at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So we wanted it at her theater, which was in Jersey. But before that, we went to Australia, which was a place I always wanted to go. When what's his name would do the barbecue shrimp, and Paul Hogan. I said, I want to go there. I want to go there. And so we were doing the show. We went to Australia, came back, had a little time off, and then we did the New England tour. And then after that, we had a few weeks off, and then we did it at Olympia's theater, as well as another theater in Jersey. And came back home, LA, because I was living in LA at the time. And get this call from my agent. He said, they want you to come in and read for this film. she said, it's called Kickboxer. I said, oh,
Oh
okay.
wow.
So I went, and there was a bunch of people in the room waiting to go in. Audition.
Right,
We all
right,
knew each
right.
other, blah, blah, you know. And I went in and I auditioned, and this guy and the producer was sitting there, and this guy with his accent jumped up and said, you gotta call back. And I said, oh, okay. All right, fine. And I left, came back for the callback and read for the director and Jean Claude, who I found out who he was later.
Right, right. Because at that time he was right. You didn't know who he was, right? Really?
No, I didn't know. As a matter of fact, I really wasn't into martial arts at all. I mean,
Wow.
used to watch it on Saturday mornings when they used to have it on television, you know, all the martial
Right,
arts.
right,
Because
right,
it was
right.
something to see on Saturday morning. And what happened was, are we still here? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm just flipping back to put you as center.
Yeah, okay. And so I went back for the third callback, I think it was.
Okay.
And there was another guy sitting there. And the receptionist says, oh, Haskell, I want you to meet so-and-so. He's also reading for Winston Taylor. I said, yeah, but I'm Winston Taylor. You know, the arrogant.
Who was that? Now, who are they going to bring in against you? Who was there? Don't tell me. Who else was there? Was that like Samuel L. Jackson? Who was there?
I have no idea who he was. He probably can't stand me today because of that. Because I basically just said rampant. Just I'm sure it rankled him. You know, it would have rankled me.
So I want to know, and I got some pictures. We're going to put this one up. I mean, you were smooth, man. Haskell, you was a smooth dude. I mean, look at that. Like, were you really acting or were you just being yourself? That's what I need to know. Because you were smooth in that movie. If nobody talks about it, that's the truth. I know you wasn't acting. That was actually you. You were like, oh, this is easy. This is an easy role.
Well, you know, I had the script the entire summer because it was a strike. I believe at that time there was a writer's strike. So I had the original screenplay all summer. So I had plenty of time to learn my lines, think about this character, and talking to people about it and how I was going to do it. And so, yeah, it was automatic. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that word automatic. It was just something that became organic.
Organic.
You know, it just grew on me. You know, so the attitude. You know, I mean, he's arrogant, is overconfident, and you know, like this guy is going to come into Thailand, into Bangkok, and he's going to do this thing, and I've been here for a while, and you're going to come in and try to create thunder. Come on, you know, let's be real.
Right. But you know, and your character Winston, you're playing ex-military, and you were ex-military.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was. It was really pretty good. I had a lot of fun. You know, it was just a wonderful experience. I had no idea that was still 34 years ago. We did this film, and people are still talking about it. I'm meeting children whose parents grew up with this film.
Right.
Just the other day, I was in a restaurant, and there was a gentleman sitting on the other side of the bar in this Italian restaurant. And we began a conversation, and one of the waitresses says, yes, Haskell, that's your name. I was trying to remember your name. And she said, now, are you happy that the strike is over? I said, yeah, I'm getting busy. So this gentleman says, oh, are you in the entertainment business? I said, yeah. He said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm an actor producer. Oh. So what have you done? I said, well, most people know me from Kickboxer. Oh, man, I grew up with that film. It turned out he was a neurosurgeon.
Wow. Oh, my God, you know, that's so funny.
With his office, which is about 3 blocks away from where we live. So I promised him that I would walk a autographed picture over to him. But I don't think any of us knew that it would have that kind of an impact. You know, especially for me. I mean, here I am, a theater actor. What do I know about film?
Right.
Jean Claude said to me one day while we were shooting, he says, you know, people are going to love you. I went, really? Yeah.
It was such an iconic movie. And I tell you, you know, I grew up with that movie. You know, Jean Claude was really my Bruce Lee, you know, because Bruce was a little bit ahead of my time. And, you know, even as I went through your IMDb, I did notice Brotherhood of Death in 1976. So literally almost right. And then Oh, sorry. But then 1989 Kickboxer, you know what I mean? That's a little bit of a gap. But it's crazy to think, right, that a film like Kickboxer, martial arts, people don't know about the martial arts genre, and to think that it's still that iconic film is crazy. You know what I mean? Really, it's unbelievable the magic that yourself and the other cast really put together. But I got to tell you, I really enjoyed like the character. Like I said, and I was teasing you, saying, were you really acting or were you just being yourself? Because Winston, yeah, he had that energy, he had that flow about him, and the way he carried himself, and different lines that you would say, but it came so effortlessly, and you really looked like you were having fun. I mean, really, really,
Oh,
you did. Like
I
a blast. Like
yeah.
you're like, I want to go drink it. You talk about the film, you're like, I want to go drink it. You know what I mean? You brought that energy, and it was such a great character, I think. And some people refer to as like a number two or whatever, but you were that guy, and it was like, oh my god, it was a really cool character.
Yeah, the memories. I mean, I have photographs. In fact, I have to take some to get put on not not slides, but put them on my computer.
Right,
I
right.
still have stills, and I need to have them transferred. I just haven't done it. I keep putting it off. But as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it this week. But it turned out to be a second honeymoon for my wife and I.
How long did you go out there for? How long was filming for you on set? If you remember,
I want to say 6 weeks, something like that. Yeah, because
wow.
we filmed first in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Then we went to Thailand.
Wow.
So that was like, whoa.
Now, was that your first time to Thailand or to Hong Kong?
Yes, my first
Wow.
time. This is like 2 years. Well, I can't say 2 years because I was in Australia. I think that was 2007. Yeah, I think it was 2007.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. I can't. When did we do the film? Was it 1990?
89. It says on IMDb 89, 1989.
Okay, 89. So I was in Australia in 19. Got married in 1987. So it was like 86. I was in Australia.
Wow.
It's hard to get those dates right. It's like so much stuff has been just.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. It was just amazing. I mean, just to travel to another world to have that experience.
Right.
I had never seen kickboxing. We went to a match. In fact, the cinematographer and I went to a match to watch real kickboxing.
Okay.
Bouts, and it was just
unbelievable. I'm sure. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Haskell, were you basically you were at that time in '89, the Kickboxer set? Were you basically the most experienced actor at that time? Out of that, because most or no? Did you feel that? Because that was only like the second or third movie for after he did Bloodsport, he did the other one. That was really only his like second movie, third movie, and then you know what I mean. Most of the other actors, right? Same or no?
I would say no. Michelle, she had experience. What's his name? That played the trainer. Oh, how can I forget their names? The one I took him out to the jungle.
Oh, Zian, I apologize. I don't remember his real actor. Yeah. I forget
his name.
Oh, he was right. He was. Yeah, you're right. But I thought though, because Van Damme, Tongpo, Muhammad Kisi, he was around the same amount of films at Jean Claude at that time because they were buddies. Dennis Alexio was not a trained actor; he was a real time, kickboxer.
Yeah.
So, so you, Michelle, and then probably the trainer. Got you.
Yeah. So that's. But
Dennis Chan.
Dennis Chan. Thank you. No ego involved.
I meant to ask you, and I hate to put people on the spot, right? And if you choose to answer or not, but I do ask, like, hey, did you have a good time working? Some people will necessarily not dime anybody out, right? But then other guests that I have, they got no problems shading, spreading shade. So they're like, oh, I hated that. I didn't like working with them. But what was it like to be? Because you had, you have some martial arts and fighters, they got egos. They do. We do. We tend to, especially if you're instructors or whatever. And how was it working with them? You know what I mean? And you being a real military guy, you know what I mean? Like you had some real background. So what was it like?
it was again the fun was there. Again, I say there was no ego. I didn't feel that. I didn't. I don't think anybody else did. Um, I didn't feel that there was any favoritism at all. Um, I think David Worth made a statement one day after I had done a scene with Jean Claude and I in the hospital hallway.
Oh,
and
powerful scene. Yeah.
And David shouted out, "You can always tell a Shakespearean actor." I'm like, oh God, no. And then we did another scene in the bar with all the women and stuff like that. And it was, I had chose a way to do the scene, and I walked in with all this bravado, but just stop, and he came over. He says, "So what are you doing?" I said, "Well, we're going to this bar for the women, and I'm like the man."
Right, because you're there. You're the guy. You're the man in town. Yeah.
So we talked about it. He says, "Okay, all right, let's go." So I toned it down a little bit coming into the bar, but then that speech at the table, I just did it and thought no more about it until the next day. I guess they had seen the dailies because I don't look at dailies.
Okay.
And one of the other producers said, "Come sit over here." And he just basically said, "I watched the daily from yesterday's shot." And hold on, yes, honey bunny, I'm still doing the interview.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Listen,
she's on her way home.
Haskell, it don't matter how famous you are. The wife is always calling. I know, brother. I know. I've been there. Don't even. Look, I'm getting text messages now to go get milk or something. I know.
I already did that. I did that this morning after my workout. But she always calls me when she's on her way home.
How long have you guys been married? How long have you guys been married?
We got married in 1987.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
and she's been with this journey the whole time with you. Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
God bless.
No, that's been another blessing,
Absolutely.
But this other director that I'm getting ready to work with again, it's just amazing. We did this film called Guillotine, and that's another interesting story. We're in the back and just talking, and his wife comes up and says, "We're getting ready to do a film, and there's a role that I know you can do."
Right.
I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "It's a role of a priest." I'm like, "Oh, God." That's because that's what I get called a lot to do.
Is it?
Priest.
Yeah.
Because we have a film, my own company, we have a film that we are developing called 40 Days Road, based on an idea that I had, and written by a very, very close dear friend of mine, Muggs Cahill, a woman, and where I play a priest in the Sudan.
Oh, wow.
So we're starting to talk to people about that, along with another film that I don't want to say yet. But this Guillotine is directed by Ray Bissard. Let me get his name right. He lives downstairs, and I should know it. But Ray is wonderful Middle Eastern guy.
Nice.
But it's just a wonderful, very basic, in the sense that he's very simple with his method. It's about it's so artistic. It's just Ray. I get it. Ray Izad Mir. IZAD-MEHR.
Okay.
He's getting ready to do another film that will be shooting in Europe, and again, I was asked to be involved, but not as a priest.
Not as a priest.
Okay. But it's a remake of a classic film, which I cannot give out the information.
No spoilers. Okay.
I can't do it.
You're a man of your word. I good. Make sure you sign that non-disclosure. I got you.
Yeah, but this will be shooting in Europe.
Okay.
believe the beginning of the winter this year,
Okay.
and I can't wait. Um, it's just I can't wait for them to get me the final script. You know, it's
Yeah.
just an amazing piece.
Wow.
So that's how the career is going. I mean, I'm still doing theater. I'm getting ready to do a reading of a new play by a writer who I did 2 of his shows, both of which have been published already. You
Wow.
know, and one was done off Broadway, and I was fortunate to be part of that cast
Wow.
because we're all members of the writer and I and the people involved. We were all members of a theater group called the Pacific Resident Theater in Venice, California,
Wow.
which is started by people who came out of ACT in San Francisco, conservatory like Yale and
Understand. Yeah.
Juilliard. You know,
Okay.
so that's exciting too. So it's like, and people ask me, well, how do you feel since the strike is over? Busy,
Busy. Yeah.
busy. You
Yeah.
know,
So you're doing theater, you're doing film. I gotta ask you, you have a very iconic voice. Do you do a lot of voiceover or no voiceover? You stay away from that?
no, it's not about staying away. They just don't pick me.
Really? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I was stalking you on social media trying to find out. I was like, did he do any voiceovers? Because you're so, again, smooth and distinctive as you speak. And I said, man, he needs to be either I don't know, some type of voiceover for something, whether it's a character or a hero or something. I don't know. I don't know, sir.
So maybe when people see this, somebody will be out there and say,
I'm going to throw it out. I just want you to know, Haskell, whenever I throw something out, it normally happens. I'll be honest with you. So
yeah. Well, you know, I've done some voice work,
okay.
But it's very minimal, but not in the realm of like, whoa, you know,
Right.
people hear your voice and say, oh, that's so and so. Didn't, well, you know, and but it's interesting because people, when they have the television on or they're watching something and they don't see me, but they hear the voice, they know, oh,
Yeah.
that's, oh, and then I show up on screen. I knew it was, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I would love to do voiceovers. I would love to do that kind of work. You know, I think it's another creative sphere. You know,
Right. Right.
but it's a tight situation, tight organization there. You
Right.
know?
To get into. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know,
Not
I mean,
easy.
I had one voiceover artist who was very, very successful, and I mentioned to him that I thought about doing it, and he said, you know, there are people who can do you better than you can do. You know, I said, oh, really? Okay, but
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
but if it happens, it happens. You know,
Right.
I
Right.
certainly wouldn't say no. You know,
Now, Haskell, let's go back. So I had a couple more questions about for the Kickboxer viewers. You know, what did you feel was one of the toughest maybe scenes or something that you had to deal with during the filming? Was there something that really stood out that you were like, man, you know, that kicked my butt, whether it was a scene, physical scene, or where maybe it was, you know, chemistry between you and another actor? You know, was it something like, oh man, I really, you know, this really kind of stumped me, or this was difficult and I was able to overcome
yeah.
it? Anything that stands out?
Well, the 2 scenes, the one in the bar, the one in the hospital hallway.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one in the truck in my van, you know, discussing, or we're outside one of the clubs that he's trying to, one of the fighting groups he's trying to,
Right.
and it's like I'm there waiting outside and seeing, you know, like what the hell are you doing?
Right.
You know, the camaraderie that we had on the set was just, it was just automatic. You know.
I meant to ask you, did you know what I mean? Because he was obviously, Van Damme was still young at that time, so he was still hungry and kind of moving through, you know. So you got him obviously in the early days, you know. And I was wondering if you were, you know what I mean, like, hey man, we meshed right away. It was perfect because it looked great. Obviously on screen, it looked great. You know, as I said, I remember those moments, even, you know, when you passionate, like, you're not good enough, you know, like some of those lines just, you're like, wow, it was passion, you know, that you said it with and energy. But, you know, did you feel you guys connected right away?
I believe it did. I think we probably connected right at the audition, the very first one, you know, when I didn't know who he was, which was very interesting. It was that stuck out right away, you know, like, who is this guy, you know? to tell me. I had no idea. I had never seen Bloodsport, or he had done another film where it was like science fiction thing. You know?
Yeah. I think it was Cyborg. I think if I remember the
that's what it
chronology
was.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But at
My
that time, he
roommate,
was not right. He didn't break through yet for the
no,
in the martial arts world, he was king. They were like, wow, who's this guy? But in the general acceptance, not yet. He didn't break through yet.
No.
So, wow.
So it was. I don't know. In fact, a friend of mine who was my roommate when we were doing Traces in Australia and on the New England tour and at the Olympias Theater, he's the one that took me to go see Bloodsport.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I said, like, oh, yeah, Jean Claude Van Damme. Oh, yeah, okay. I like, okay, wow, this guy's pretty good. Because I grew up watching Bruce Lee.
Right. Yeah.
That was my period. Don't want to give up my years.
Listen. You told me already you're a model, and I can see. Hold on, let me throw this one up here. I saved this one too. This headshot. Look at this sexy man. My goodness.
That's a recent shot.
Wow. Are you like, they have a term that says age like fine wine, but I don't know, Haskell. I'm thinking you like got some reverse engineering genetics or something.
Well,
you look younger here. You know what I mean? Look at that beautiful face. And then, hold on. And then this guy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to let the crowd, I'll let the audience know that one.
Well, the truth of the matter is that the photographs get old. I don't. The Dorian Gray syndrome, that's what that is.
So funny. Oh my goodness. How was it to go back to Kickboxer? How was it doing the action scene? So obviously did you get to fire the weapons? You did all that stuff. Did you, did you get to do the stunt driving, or that was somebody else, or how did that work out? Did you get to?
No, that was my first day of actually shooting.
Really?
Right. Yeah. And it was just the whole set. I think it took practically the entire afternoon into the evening to shoot that scene.
Wow.
This big gun, boom, and explosions. And as a matter of fact, my wife was in the background watching, and we shot it, and you hear the scream, ah! And I said, oh, Jesus, that's my wife. And she's like, and then we had to shoot it again.
Wow.
But that was fun. It was just amazing. It was in Brotherhood of Death, yes, I shot a rifle, but it was nothing like this. This was more sophisticated, so to speak.
Gotcha.
You actually had an armorer, and it was just, this thing is wow, Okay. That was exciting. That was an exciting day.
So your first actual scene is that breakout scene coming in and breaking them out of the warehouse. That's how you.
Yeah.
Wow. What an introduction.
Wow. I don't know if the cigar thing was in the script or not, but we use it throughout the entire film. Whenever, it was some things that just happened. Like when I'm at the final fight scene, I'm standing by the bell, and this guy comes over and I did this thing that just, oh no. Oh no. That wasn't in the script.
No.
In the script, it was just, oh no.
Yeah, that's so funny. Oh my God. How was it working? So, and the dog what was that like working with the shepherd? Right.
That was shepherd? That was a German shepherd, and it was he stole scenes as far as I was concerned. He was so well trained, so well behaved, and there's another thing. We just got along.
Awesome.
We got along.
Awesome.
And it wasn't even my dog. It was Zian's dog.
Right.
But,
right. But it kind of took. It had. Yeah, he did. He stealed the scenes. There's no doubt about it. He definitely did. He definitely did. Yeah. So after Kickboxer finishes, do you find yourself did you get contacted for like more action films, more things like what happened next with it?
I got a call for another film, and I think it was a boxing film. And the funny thing is, I was wearing contacts at the time, and I needed new ones. And I went in to read the script, and I kind of read it for the producers, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. I really can't. Meaning, I can't really see what the lines were, so I can't do it. I guess they took it as I can't do this role.
Oh man.
But it's okay. It was okay. It was no problem. No problem. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to get into that genre.
Understand. Okay.
Action films. I really didn't want to do that. As a matter of fact, when they came out with Kickboxer 2, Michelle.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to ask you, did they call you to come back for that?
Well, Michelle asked me, he says, do you want to do it? And I said, well, is Jean Claude doing it? He says, no. When I said, well, there's no point.
Right.
There's no point, so no. I mean, in retrospect, should I have? I don't know. I think I made the right move,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, you know what I mean? Because I feel like sometimes some movies are, that first one is amazing, and then they try to repeat it, and if things don't work out, then they try to add other people. And I think Sasha Mitchell did a great job. You know what I mean? I met him, really nice guy, sweet guy. But obviously he's not Van Damme. Van Damme had his own. Van Damme's his own guy. You know what I mean? It's like everybody. It's hard to be other people, and I felt that Jean Claude made Kickboxer. He did. And even for the second one, at least they did bring back Michelle Muhammad Kisi to be the Tong Po, but then they ended up changing him later on, and I think his good friend Kamal Creefy ended up being Tong Po in like Kickboxer Part 4 or 5 or whatever it was. I think what I mean. At a certain time, I think the run stops, but it is what it is. I understand.
There was another actor they used. I can't remember his name, but he became a big actor. He was in one of the Kickboxer films. Maybe it was the last one. But he's done a few things since then. God, I can't remember his name because I never did see all the sequels.
Okay.
I never did.
I think after the second one, I stopped. I didn't watch any more after that.
Yeah.
I apologize. And I'm a karate buff. I love martial arts films, but sometimes even me, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to continue. I liked number 2. I did. I know it was different. I know it wasn't the first one, but and I think I watched the next one after that. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
Now I was going through your IMDb. Talk about the role you had in Civil Action. That was that's listed on their IMDb.
Yeah, Civil Action.
John Travolta. Yeah,
I play a court clerk to John Lithgow.
Okay.
And that was very interesting because I went in for the audition, and what happened? It was it was just a role. I didn't pay that much attention to it. It was just making an announcement, so and so charges and the court number, so and so and so, and thought no more about it. And they said, "Hey, it's only 2 days' work." I said, "Well, fine," because I was actually rehearsing for another new play at the time.
Okay.
And they called me and said, "Well, they'd like for you to do the role." I said, "Okay," John Lithgow and big names were in it, and I went in for the wardrobe fitting, and it was interesting because they put me in a suite and they came in with 2 racks of clothes. And I said, "I'm playing the clerk, right?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "This is for 2 days' work?" And they said, "Oh, they didn't tell you?" "Tell me what?" "This is like you're here for the duration of the film," which turned out to be about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I had to leave the play that I was doing,
Go do this film.
But you never really see me in the film. You just hear my voice,
So
But that John
Travolta.
John Travolta is in it. Well, he was, the guy.
Right.
That was fun because I got to work with all these people that I admired.
Right.
And the first day on that set, I'm there, and the director said, "Let's do a rehearsal." So John Lithgow walks into the room, and I make this announcement, and I hear in the background, "Shit! I should have shot this," because, and all the actors are sitting there going, and I guess it was because of my voice,
Right.
And it's funny because when lunch time came, and I'm going in to get lunch, and I go into the mess area where everybody's eating, and I'm looking for a place to sit, and John Lithgow and all the other actors are going, So I ended up sitting with them every day.
Nice.
It felt good. I mean, if you look at the cast, you'll see who was in it, and it was just being able to
Who's
sit
who?
there.
Yeah.
Basically,
Absolutely.
and the director, Academy Award-winning director.
Mm.
So it was amazing. So, I've been blessed.
What was your role in the movie with Eddie Murphy? I noticed that was on there. Life.
Oh, that was.
How was it like working with those guys?
I worked with Eddie in one scene.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is, when I went in to read for the role, the casting director told me right then and there, she says, "You are not going to get hired. They're not going to hire you for this role." I said, "Well, fine, cool. I got to meet you. You know who I am, blah, blah, blah." 2 days later, they call me. "You got the role, It was basically sitting at a card table, smoking a cigarette, gambling with Eddie Murphy.
Unbelievable.
And it was like, okay. And it ended up, 2 days work, a lot of fun, and working with Eddie was just, it was an amazing, interesting deal with that.
Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, I saw him again because he came to a screening of another film that I was in. And I didn't think to go up to him and say, we were in this movie together.
Right.
This one scene. But I just don't think like that,
Right.
Yeah,
You're a humble man, though, too, Haskell. I understand. You're a humble man.
Well, I pray for that. Humility and gratitude. I definitely do that.
Absolutely. So, Haskell, you've had an amazing career that spans so much. You've had these iconic roles. You've got to work with these, unbelievable actors. Some up and coming, like Jean Claude, because he wasn't Jean Claude at that point. Look at where his careers went. You worked with legends: John Lithgow, Eddie Murphy, John Travolta. How, if you take that step back now, as you're watching, what do you feel this experience for you has been? You know what I mean? Was it, the career, like, and I had asked you earlier, about your theatrical, and you had said, you kind of were more focused with that than film. Where do you feel now where you are in your career? You know what I mean? The road that it's on right now for you.
I truly believe that I am where I'm supposed to be right now, and my journey is going to where I would like it to go to. And I firmly believe that I'm at that point now. The lead role, not necessarily lead roles, but the very principal roles, except for 2 films that we're praying and hoping to do, where I would have one of the leads. I keep learning. I've done some short films. And the last one I did, beautiful film. And the fact is that an award-winning film. It went to, I think, maybe 30 plus film festivals.
Wow.
And the director, who was a graduate student at UCLA,
wow,
African-American lady, very, very, very talented. I would work with her in a minute. But the film was called Homeland. The film was only about 12 minutes, but the awards that she has received because of that film, and her other film, which is called Bondage, very, very talented. I mean, she has received some awards that have made her, I would think, now world renowned.
Wow.
Up and coming screenwriter and director.
Right.
Yeah. So, and my wife just walked through the door.
Okay, the boss is home. The boss is home.
Yeah.
So how do you feel going into 2024? The industry has obviously changed. You mentioned about the dailies versus now they're showing you right in the video booth when you're on set. You're able to see it right then and there. How has that changed for you as a seasoned actor who started, years ago to where you are now? Do you feel it's for the better? Do you, are there advantages, disadvantages? How do you feel, as being a seasoned, you're a veteran, you've been through a lot, filming all over. So, how do you feel the way the industry's going now?
I think it's more open than what it used to be. Hi, Don.
Shut the door. Shut the window.
Okay, I have to shut the door now.
Shut the window.
Got it.
Okay.
Because there's bees out there.
Okay, yeah, but we're fine.
Shut the window.
Oh, bees. Oh, okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Excuse me.
Um, has it changed? Yeah, it's changed a great deal. I mean, there are more roles, especially for minority actors.
I want to touch base on that. Yep. Yep.
Um, and you just have to be open. You have to be open. You have to keep your, when I say open, you have to keep your eyes and ears and your heart open,
Mm,
because you can play any role you want to. If they don't give it to you, then you do it yourself. Do your own thing. You know, get a camera, get a crew, get a good script.
right.
That's the basic. Get a good script. And I mean, not something that's acceptable. It's got to be good.
Right.
That will grab people's attention. It has to have something to say, you know. So I can say that most of the projects that I've been involved with, both theater and film, have something to say,
Wow.
you know. And that's important. That's really, really, really important. And you have to believe. I mean, it's like you said, there's so many platforms now, many
Yep.
platforms.
Right. Right.
I think one of the great joys, you say, that in the industry changing, is the fact when people come to you and ask you to do a role, instead of having, oh, I got to go to or I had to go to an audition, I hope I get this role. But when people ask you to do the role, and then you read the script and see how good it is, you know, it's like, I mean, yes, people are doing short films, but it has to be good. And
Right.
when this young lady asked me to do this film, and she sent me the script, and I read it, and I said, "Oh my God, this one I have got to do." And it was a two-character piece, basically.
Wow.
You know, I play the grandfather to a young lady, and the film was actually based on the director's real situation with her grandfather. You
Wow.
know, and it was such a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience. I will, oh, and I can't wait to work with her again. Really, you know.
That's awesome. And that's amazing that she inspired you in that way, that you appreciate her, right? You said she was starting as a grad student and
Yeah,
now look at where she's at. And, she's inspired you to just say, wow, you appreciate her work. So you're willing to work with her again. That's awesome.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a number of people directors that I've worked with that I would, they said, "Can you come and do this one line?" Yeah, yeah, maybe.
So Haskell, you're going to stay away from action. You're going to stay away from action.
Oh
No more
no,
action.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
Okay.
I mean, there's some action films that, believe it or not, have something to say. You know, I mean, I watch as much, not television, but I watch a lot of the platforms. Films, foreign films. I'm really big into foreign films.
Wow. Okay.
The British, Irish, the French. I've seen some beautiful work, and those are actually my acting classes. Um, um, and I, I was watching this is not a series, but I was watching. There's a woman by the name of Margie Haber who teaches acting, but a certain sense of acting and how to work with the camera, and she's just absolutely amazing. I went to one of her sessions, and actually, it wasn't her; it was one of her associates who had the class, and I learned quite a bit. Um, my first, I have to say, my first professional acting teaching was Jose Quintero,
Mm,
very well-known director.
mm,
I'm talking about he directed. We're talking about high-end,
right.
well-known
Right.
actors. You
Yeah.
know, um, and I remember walking in to be interviewed by him, and I auditioned, and he said, "Look at this little guy. I don't see anything." And then when I did the first class with him and another actress, we finished and in front of the whole class, and he's talking to this woman. He said absolutely nothing to me the whole time. And then they took a break. So I basically went and got my jacket and said, "I'm through." He said nothing to me. It's over. And I came out. trying to sneak out, and he told her, like, stop. And he came over and he hugged me.
Wow.
And he said, that is the best work I have ever seen. And I was blown away. I was blown away. A man of his stature to give me that kind of a compliment was just absolutely amazing. I did a show at the theater called the Santa Monica Playhouse. They only had 30 seats, maybe, but and it was called Hard Laughs, about Sammy Shore, with Sammy Shore, big comedian who started the Comedy Store. And the people that came in there, Milton Berle and all these big names,
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, what is this? And actually, I went to the audition and didn't get the job. And they said, well, we might consider you for understudy. I said, oh, okay, all right. Then 2 days later, they called and said, well, the person that was going to do it can't do it. Would you want to do the role? I said, yeah. Bam. There you go.
There it is. So Haskell, what do you feel is the biggest advice that you can give to someone? And I want you to touch base on what you did is rejection, because people are going to audition. Now, again, it's different now because people will reach out over Facebook or Instagram or whatever to say, hey, can you read this or whatever? But just the overall acceptance of learning how to deal with rejection, you know what I mean? And then being positive about that. How can you share that, or what advice can you give?
The advice is...
Sorry to put you on the spot.
The advice, I mean, it was the rejection part. You have to learn how to deal with that. I mean, I used to come out to do an audition and thought I knocked the ball out of the two parks, and didn't hear anything, or they decided to go another way. And you would get this moment of anger. I said, what? And then you go see the work and you said, they picked that person, and like, what are they thinking, but as you grow, mature, and get older, you learned how to deal with it. It's part of the process. And you just deal, Not everybody all the time is going to say yes. And you have to deal with the no's. I mean, I got to the point where I met a director who had directed a very big film. And actually, the film won an Academy Award. And I got to meet this director because I was trying to get into his next film.
Okay.
And I auditioned, sent a tape in. The opportunity was set up for me to meet him. And I thought I did everything that I could do, which I didn't think was possible. But I didn't hear anything. I didn't get it. But then I learned, okay, that was part of the journey. I learned something from that, and it was one of the roles that I wanted that role. I wanted that role.
What, you can't say what film that was?
I don't want to, because I don't want to spoil it.
Gotcha.
I could tell you the cast was John Lithgow, Stanley Tucci, Isabella Rossellini, another well-known British actor. I can't think of the name right now. Based on a book, and I was like, oh God, I went through days and days and days and days. And
this was a while ago, correct?
No, this was about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I was like, so that was a rejection in a way, that everything that you thought you were doing right didn't pan out, but that was okay. But it was a learning experience, first of all, to meet a director of that caliber, and say, whoa, I can do this.
Right.
I can do this,
Right.
But it was pleasant. I mean, and the meeting was only a few minutes, but it was the most enjoyable thing. And I have photographs of it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
oh man.
But yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. So
we have a couple. So throughout the show, we always get some comments and people to chime in. So I would like to just, if we could give a couple shout outs, I'm going to read a couple names that they tuned into the show. So I have a Loe, if you could say hello to Loe for logging in today. Loe.
Loe, how are you?
I actually have a good friend of mine from Reading, Pennsylvania. He's actually in the film with me. He's actually in the industry. He's a stuntman. And his name is Bill Pugh. If you give Bill Pugh a quick shout out.
Bill, how are you? Thank you for coming.
Then we have Levi Dennis. Levi's a young man who, if I have his history correct, because I watch him on Facebook, I think he's finishing high school and he's going to college to wrestle, but he always chimes into any shows that I have. So if you could just say a quick hello to Levi Dennis.
Levi Dennis. Man, am I going to hear about you?
He's got a great name, right? Doesn't he have a great name, Haskell? and the last one is Glenn Deering, who logged in for our show today. If you could say hello to Glenn.
Glenn, what a pleasure. God, one of these days we're going to meet all these people.
That's right. That's right, Haskell. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, Haskell, I'm going to tell the viewers, I don't think this is the first time, or excuse me, I don't think this is the last time that we're going to talk. I have a feeling I'm getting an energy bump here. I think something's going to happen. So we this might just be a little taste for everybody. So I'm excited that you made this happen today.
But hey, you can't be more excited than being asked. You know, me being asked. You know, it's just so interesting when I meet people. I don't say, you know, necessarily what I do, but there is like, you know, you look real familiar. Or, you know, you look like that guy that so. Yeah. Or they'll walk down the street and literally say my lines, you know, and the famous one they use is, you can't fight Freddie Lee. Yeah. And I'm like,
yeah. Listen, I kind of throw these pictures. Look at this guy. Smooth. That should be your calling card. I love that. Look at you with the fingertips. Like, you know what I mean? Oh my God. I remember that line. And again, you guys together here. Again, I showed everybody your beautiful new headshot. Amazing. And then I found this one. I stole this one too. What's this one from? What's that one from? That's a magazine shoot, right? That's a magazine picture.
This is an interesting story. I donate platelets at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And that was when they told me that year that I donated the most platelets in history at Cedars-Sinai Hospital.
Oh, this picture.
Yeah. And
wow.
They wanted to do a photo session. And I said, well, I have a space that we can use, which is at Pacific Resident Theater. And that's on the main stage. And they loved it. Awesome. So they wrote this article. And
God bless.
It was like, whoa.
That's awesome.
You get these congratulatory notes from people who get that magazine, because I think it's a quarterly magazine. And I'm like, wow, you read this thing, you know. It's the same hospital that Denzel and his wife have experience with as far as services, doing things for them and for the hospital itself. You know, Cedars-Sinai is a great institution.
Wow,
large.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Haskell, well, we're coming up on the hour mark. You know, we've been chatting, and I feel like we could chat for almost 3 hours. But we're approaching the hour mark, so I do kind of want to bring it a little bit to a close, and I want to ask you, you know, is there any? And I know you gave some advice, and we talked about rejection, but is there any final words that you'd like to leave with the viewers that tuned in today, or if you want to talk about that new project you have, whatever you'd like to finish with, whatever you'd like to finish. Give your plugs. Because I'm going to ask you for a plug in a minute.
When they finally get the guillotine out, it'll probably be on one of the platforms. I don't know which one. I can't say.
Okay.
Watch it, because it's not only a film. It's a historical piece, you know, about the development of the guillotine and how they used it in different periods, in different situations. I didn't know it, that the guillotine was actually used by Saddam Hussein's sons. You know, for fun.
Wow.
You know, the role I'm in is when the Algerians were fighting the French for independence, and I was the priest friend to the executioner. So we would go to the different locations together to execute people. And this was when the executioner, who was played by another theater friend of mine, Dennis Downs, awesome actor. It's just he and I and this young lady who plays one that's being executed. So the film is made of, I think it's 5 chapters, and
Okay.
I'm in the Algerian one, which I think is the fourth installment,
Okay.
or the 4th chapter of that film.
Okay. So the guillotine.
Yeah, called Guillotine. I think I have a copy. They sent me the new poster, which I'm going to show. Let me see if I can pull it up, like somebody who has some brains. No, it's not on that one. I have it somewhere. I think I know where it is. These new phones, they're just
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
God, let me see now. I have to find a search thing.
Okay.
Home. How do you get to the search? See, there we go. GUI. Guillotine, INE. Let me see. Hopefully it will come up. I'm just going to give you a little peek of if you can see it.
Move it to the other. Yep, right there. Oh, wow.
You know, that's the scene that I'm in with this young lady who's getting ready to be executed.
My goodness.
Beautiful actress.
Wow.
But I'm looking for the new. As a matter of fact, this film won the. Was it? It was a. It won best film at the.
One of the larger film festivals, like Cannes or something like
that. It was no, not as big as Cannes. It was in Europe. It was Barcelona Film Festival.
Oh,
yeah, best film, best director. I think it won best director.
Wow.
But it was. But I'm looking for the. He just sent me the new poster. And don't get angry at me, Ray, because I couldn't find it.
We're good.
Let me see. Oh, well, you'll see it. You'll see it when it comes out.
If you find it, just text it to me and then I can post it up and then tag you if that's okay.
Yeah, that's what I'll do because I'm so slow. Wrong. Wrong. See, I'm still learning how to use this phone. This is the newest one,
Which one? You got an Android or an iPhone?
No, I have an iPhone.
Oh,
app,
See that?
If I could just, I see what I did. Okay. Now get to Ray, R-A-Y. I'm sure he put it on. So, I mean, it's a great poster, but like everybody else, we got so much stuff on there, we can't find it. But no, when I find it, I'll send it to you.
Please send it. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the other 2 films were Ray Izad Mir.
Okay.
Remember that name.
Remember that name. I got you.
Yeah, that kind of thing. People who want to be in this business, who are already in this business, but still rather new. I think the key word is patience and focus. Where do you want to go and how do you get there?
Right.
And just go after it. Just stay focused. That was my whole thing when I left New York to come out here because everybody else was getting TV series and I wanted one. And my mom said, "When are you coming back?" And I said, "When I get a series." She said, "Oh, that's going to be a long time."
Wow.
How truthful she was. But at the same time, we didn't know that I would end up doing film.
Right.
Yeah. So, and my mother used to teach Tai Chi. So when she went to the movies and to see Kickboxer, she would tell people, "That's my son," because they didn't want to believe her. But
right. Oh, it's so funny. That's so funny. Oh my God. Haskell, if you don't mind, if you could do a quick, so we're going to wrap it up. If you could do a quick sign off for me, just basically say your name and just say, this is Haskell Anderson on the Martial Arts Experience. And then I'm going to kind of close it out.
Okay. This is Haskell Anderson on martial ex martial arts,
Experience.
present ex martial arts experience. I love that. It's such a different word, so I have to learn how to say it.
So it's actually, it goes martial arts experience. In the logo, we just made the X bigger. Yep.
Yeah.
Trademark. You know what I mean? Gotta brand it. So martial arts
cool.
experience.
Yeah, this is cool.
Thank you.
Who ever thought? A friend of mine said, "Can you ever imagine you doing a film holding a gun? You think you can do that?" And I said, "No." A few years later, that's right.
Unbelievable. And here we are talking today about, an amazing film and your career. So to all the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in today. You guys got a real treat today with Mr. Haskell Anderson III, talking about all his different projects. I want to thank you, sir, for coming aboard and spending this beautiful hour with us and talking to our viewers and sharing in, the little intricate things and your experiences with us. So we thank you so much for taking that time today, sir.
Thank you. Sawadee ka.
Thank you, Haskell. Don't go anywhere, so don't click off yet. Don't click off yet. To all the viewers, thank you again. Episode 15 today. An outstanding, iconic actor, Haskell Anderson. I mean, come on, we did it today. I hope you guys see us the next one. We got another special guest for you on the next one, which is making some moves in Australia. So I'll be putting a promo video up for that, and that'll be our next interview in a couple weeks. So, guys, take care of yourself. God bless, and thanks for tuning into the Martial Arts Experience today.
Peace be with you.